Well, good morning again.
Good morning.
I have to begin by asking, is it okay for you all to talk back?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I am nothing if not polite. I have a mother who will, never mind. We won't go down that path. So I want to begin by asking you a question. How many of us here have things that we are worried or concerned about? Almost everybody. The ones who didn't raise your hand, we need to talk after church. I want to find out what your secret is. But here's another question. What do you do when you are worried or stressed? Pray. Good way to start. Eat. If the next person says love, we're going to have a problem. What do you do when you are stressed? When life is coming at you hard and fast, what are some of the things that you do to keep your sanity? Shop. Sleep. Cry. A good cry every once in a while isn't a bad thing. Binge watch a series. Dan, I need to spend more time with you. You see, the thing is, we all find some way sometimes to cope with all the craziness of the world, yes? I have a good friend of mine that whenever she gets stressed, she gardens. And she has like this amazing garden. I keep saying, when you're stressed the next time, can you come to my house, please? Be stressed with me. But see, I, on the other hand, when I get stressed, I clean. I knew that was coming. See, I clean. And the thing is, if it stays still long enough in my house when I am stressed, it's going to get cleaned, including the dog. I happen to like that when something goes wrong, I feel as though I can actually do something with my hands when I am cleaning. And I suspect the same thing is true. I mean, I also have those days where Netflix and a long series is the best medicine for the soul. Anybody else kind of do that aside from the two of us? You see, we find ways of trying to make sense of the world. And the reality is, I don't know about you, but the world right now, God help us all. I turn on the TV, I go on social media, and I'm about done. I have decided for the month of October that I am not reading any news. Because it is just called, I don't know why we bother to call it the news. There's nothing new about it. And it's usually pretty bad news. And then you throw a political campaign in the midst of this stuff, and it makes it all even worse. And I'm like Mark Twain, I just want to stop the world so I can get off of it. Let's figure out what we're going to do. But the thing is, when we find ourselves in those moments when we are stressed, when life is coming at us fast and hard, when things are just feeling as though they are falling apart, we are called, as followers of Jesus, to look towards the things that keep us grounded and rooted in this moment. We're called to look towards those things of our faith. We're called to look towards those communities that help us give meaning. We're called to be God's presence for someone else in need. The challenge sometimes is figure out how we exactly do that. See, I grew up with the oldies as my background music as a kid. And one of my favorites is the Drifters. Anybody Drifters fans? Up on the Roof, anyone? When this old world starts getting, I'm not subjecting to my singing so early in the morning, but I wrote down the words. When this old world starts getting me down, and people are just too much for me to face, I climb up on the top of the stairs, and all my cares drift right into space. On the roof, it's peaceful as can be, and there the world below can't bother me. Up on the roof. I suspect that many of us would like to go up on the roof right about now. To let some of our cares drift up into space. To let all the things in the world around us just kind of go away if we possibly could. We don't get to do that. See, in our gospel for this morning, we hear Jesus off doing Messiah things. We find him in the region of Caesarea Philippi. Anybody ever been to Caesarea Philippi? Probably not. We probably don't know where Caesarea Philippi is. But Caesarea Philippi is one of those pagan cities. It is not a Jewish city. He is not among people that like him. He is in the world that is opposed to everything that he is. These are Caesarea and Philippi are Roman emperors, hence the name. They're named after the Roman occupiers who are occupying the Holy Land at the time. So Jesus is off there in the land of the folks who've been occupying and oppressing his people, and he does the very first survey ever recorded in Scripture. See, surveys have been a thing for a couple thousand years now. You didn't know. He says to the disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" He wants to know, what are people around saying about him? And you gotta love the disciples. They all come, well, some say that you're Elijah, others say that you're a good prophet, you're trending on Twitter, X, you're getting lots of likes on Facebook, and your Instagram account is blowing up Jesus. But Jesus looks at them and says, I don't care about what they are saying. I care about what you're saying. What are you saying? When people ask you, who am I? What are you telling them? And Peter, God bless Peter. I am convinced, you probably heard me say this, I am convinced that Peter got his name because his head is as dense as a rock. Peter does not get it most of the time. Peter suffers from this chronic syndrome called foot and mouth syndrome. He likes to put his foot in his mouth. But Peter finally gets it right. Peter says, you are the Messiah. You are the one who God sent to save us. You are the one who is going to make all things right. And Jesus says to him, good job, Peter. You got it right. But not 10 seconds after Peter gets it right, he suffers from a chronic bout of foot and mouth syndrome. Because 2 seconds later, he pulls Jesus aside and says, well, the Messiah can't die. We don't want a Messiah who dies. We want a Messiah who comes with power and might and smites our enemies. And I love Jesus' response. Get behind me, Satan. You are not putting your mind on earthly things. You're putting your mind not on heavenly things, but on earthly things. He rebukes Peter, and then he says to everybody, if you want to be my follower, you must take up your cross and follow me. And you can imagine when they heard that, most people were like, nope, I'm done, I'm out, not for me. But I think it all begins with this question. Who do you say that I am? You see, the thing is, most of us have our own crosses to bear, right? This is the talking back part.
Yes.
We worry about our finances. We worry about our health. We worry about our children. We worry about our aging parents or our aging elders. We worry about our aging selves. We worry about the future of our nation. We worry about, there's a lot to worry about. We have a lot of crosses that we carry, and what Jesus says to us is to take up your cross and follow. Now notice he does not say, I'm going to fish you out of your current circumstance. Did you notice that? He doesn't say, I am suddenly going to make everything better if you just believe in me. We've heard that somewhere, have we not? I turn on the TV sometimes, and folks are preaching what I call the prosperity gospel. If you just do well, God is going to bless you. Which means that if something goes wrong in our life, God must be punishing us. God is not that fickle. Let me say that again. God is not that fickle. When Jesus says to us, take up your cross, carry your burdens, bring your financial worries, bring your healthcare worries, bring all the things that you worry about, what he's saying to us is, we do not walk this journey alone. Because what did Jesus do with his own cross? When he was walking along on that Good Friday, someone carried the cross for him. Someone walked with him on his journey, and what he's saying to us is, I'm going to walk with you through your journey. I'm not going to take you out of your situation, but I'm going to be your companion every single step of the way. At the end of the Gospels, Jesus says to us, remember, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. It means that we do not get to carry these burdens by ourselves. It means that we do not walk this journey with me and the boots on my feet. It means that we walk this journey together as people of faith. When I can't pray, you can pray for me. When I can't go, you can go for me. When I can't stand up, you will stand up for me. We together will know what it means to be people who follow Jesus because we love each other enough to go on every journey when we cannot walk ourselves. Oh yeah, see, Episcopals can do that too. That is the good news of this gospel about picking up our cross and following Jesus. We get the Messiah that we need and not the Messiah that we want. We want a Messiah who's going to come in and smite our enemies. I have a list. A couple of people are really near the top, but if Jesus comes back and says, well, Deon, is there some people that you want? Here's my list. We all have those people that we know that if Jesus gave us the authority to just kind of like, ooh, there would be some smiting going on. We some good old-fashioned biblical smiting. What happened to those? But anyway. That's what we want. We want a Jesus who comes in and smacks down the people that we don't like and justifies us as we are. But the Messiah that we need says to us that I will walk with you and talk with you and call you my own. The Messiah that we need is a Messiah who said to us, love your enemies because it's going to mess with their heads. The Messiah that we need says to us, love your neighbor as yourself. The Messiah that we get says to us, come to me, you who are heavy laden and carrying burdens, and I will give you rest. The Messiah we need says to us, I will be with you to the end of the age. Bring your cross, bring your worries, bring your shame, bring all the things that are holding you back, and I will walk with you. The question is, do we believe it? The question is, do we live as though we know that those things are true? Or are we more comfortable pointing to Jesus and not letting our lives show Jesus? See, that is the conviction of our faith. When Jesus asked the question, who are people saying that I am? It's a question that is being posed to you and I as well. It's not about us going and telling, oh, Jesus is my home friend. Jesus is my good buddy. Jesus is the friend on Facebook, Instagram, and X. It's about how do our lives reflect the things that we believe about this Jesus. The best way that we show others what it means to follow Jesus, the best way we show people what Jesus is by living lives that point to Jesus. By living lives knowing that I am going to mess it up. And mess it up royally sometimes. And that God is in the business of forgiving. It's about knowing that there will be times that I will stumble and fall, but it allows me to let somebody else help pick me up and put me back together. That is the gift that this community gives one to another in pointing to Jesus. When I was newly ordained, my young nephew died pretty suddenly. My family, needless to say, was pretty devastated. But the thing that got us through that, when I couldn't pray, when I was angry at God, when I was reeling at the heavens, somebody else did it for me. Someone else prayed for me. And in good Episcopalian style, somebody else fed me. Because we can feed some grief with a casserole like anybody's business. And what it says to me is that we know what it means to be people who carry our crosses, who carry our burdens, and care for each other in the name of Christ. That is what we are saying to Tristan this morning. That no matter what comes in Tristan's life, no matter when he falls, no matter when he fails, no matter when the burdens come and the crosses are his to bear, that he will not bear those burdens, those crosses alone. That you will be there to walk with him and talk with him and remind him that he is Christ's own forever. Not just for today, not just for next week, but forever. That is the promise that you take, that is the promise that you make, that you will be witnesses to this Jesus in all that you do. And that we will take up our crosses and together we will carry them. That if we are not willing to help each other carry our crosses, we are not showing Jesus the world. So my challenge to you, my sisters and brothers, whatever burden you're carrying, whatever worry is holding you down, whatever it is that is plaguing your dreams at night, leave it there. Leave it in front of the Christ who says to you, "Come to me. Bring me your burdens. Bring me your worries." Walk together as people of faith, knowing that we will always get the Jesus that we need, but not necessarily always the Jesus that we want. As for me and my house, the prophet says, we will follow the Lord. And together we can say, I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus.